International Speedway is the world's greatest racetrack. I know, I drive there. I'm Buddy Baker, and I want you to join me this weekend at the Speedway for the Daytona 500 pole position qualifying. 1590 Daytona Radio.
And now, before we break away for a message from the Daytona Beach International Speedway, we'd like to remind everybody that Lee Marshall will be in with Earl Ross, the Canadian race driver, for an exclusive interview this afternoon at 3 o'clock. Don't miss it.
America's greatest race driver is Richard Petty, bar none. How do you feel now about a Canadian like Earl Ross coming south to try his luck?
Well, I think it's real good. I think it, from his standpoint, it's probably something that he's wanted to do a long time. And from my standpoint, I welcome competition, but really I welcome people from other parts of the country, because if he comes down here and runs second and I win the race, and I'm going to get as much publicity in Canada as he does. So this really helps me.
I'm from Birmingham, and I came to the races to see Richard Petty win.
Welcome to Speed Weeks 1973 here at Daytona Beach, Florida. The greatest stock car race of them all, the Daytona 500. And this year, for the first time, a Canadian, Earl Ross, will try his luck against the good old boys. So stay with us.
Hi. We've come here from Miami to the races. We come every year. We thoroughly enjoy them.
When I first got started, it was just a love for driving, and really wasn't making that much money. And then things worked out. I started making money, and I still just drive really for the love of driving a race car.
The more I race, the more people I get to meet. I like the people in the racing end of the business, and the people that are in the stands, they like country music, and it's a possibility that some of them might like Marty Robbins. So I want to try to meet them that way, if not through personal experience, by singing. And then a noise like that's music to my ears, see?
Car's going quicker and running his draft, I might do all right. That'll depend on the circumstances. How do you feel? Nervous as hell.
I'm worried just a little bit, because naturally I don't want to cause anybody to have a wreck. I don't want to wreck and be hurt. But I believe in God, and I believe that God is going to take care of me wherever I am, and I try to live the best I can, and I just have to feel that when he wants me, he's going to come and get me, because he knows where I am all the time.
The people, for one thing, the drivers, the speed, I guess everything about stock car racing we like.
This actually is the type of stock car that ran here on the beach back in the early days.
Is that right?
This fellow here now is a Yamaha dealer up the street here. He's from Providence, Rhode Island, and he'd get into this car and fix it up, drive it to Daytona Beach, put it in the races, and if he was lucky and it was all in one piece and still had the wheels, he'd drive it back to Providence. And that's quite a change. You can see the contrast in...
That's right. It sure is.
The site that we are at now is the site of the last stock car race that was run here at Daytona Beach, and we're standing where the north turn grandstand was, and the cars in our stock car races started on the beach 2 miles south of here, came up the beach north, came through this bank turn, which was it's deteriorated considerably since 1958. There's been no work done on it. and we went down the highway parallel to the beach, and the people used to stand on the sand dunes. We had to depend on the way the wind was blowing, the condition of the beach, the tide, and natural hazards that were difficult to overcome. There was no crowd control really, and it was a haphazard type of a promotion. Early in 1950s, we recognized that the future of the winter economy of Daytona depended very largely on our motorsports activities, so the city fathers at that time took such steps as necessary to attempt to construct a big facility.
Marlin from Columbia, Tennessee. This automobile, the Chevrolet, what is it that you have to do to an automobile off the showroom floor to make it a race car?
Well, it's actually start with the frame, and of course it's all really beefed up, and all your suspension is done with the heavy duty, your shocks, and as long as it keeps a stock appearance. Of course, we have to have it beefed up for this type of racing. It wouldn't stand up.
The engine has changed too. Now, I couldn't even buy the parts you use in your engine, could I, or is it possible?
Yes, the parts in these engines, about the only thing that's not originally you buy with a parts counter is the intake.
The intake manifold and that sort of thing. Well, now, you also change tires. The tires you use, of course, don't have the classic kind of tread design. They're much wider too, aren't they?
Yes, a whole lot of wider, and they carry inliner in them. And, of course, in case you cut one down, you know, you can actually make another lap through on the inline, and, of course, it saves you from getting in the wall a whole lot.
The roll cage on the inside of that car is very strong. Well, a Sherman tank could about run over and you'd be safe on the inside of that car.
Yeah, of course, it's pretty hard for it to give, and of course, that's the rules they got. We got to put them all in there.
Well, it's all for driver safety. We don't want anybody getting hurt.
That's right. And of course, we put a fuel cell in them.
Now, what is a fuel cell exactly?
Well, when a car gets involved in a wreck, it could, you know, regular gas tank could explode, you know, and with a fuel cell, it's a rubber tank with a lot of kind of sponge-like inside of it, mounted still inside of metal. So it's just about hard for it to bust. You got around them, you know, and I said, all right, you got around the next lap. So I guess you got sideways up there. He got back around. You could run up behind him in the draft and run up ahead of him. But then when you were breaking your own wind on 7 cylinders, well, it was hopeless, and he just ran right back by me. Yeah, right. That's all wind that does that. So strictly the draft. It's fantastic up there.
Congratulations, Earl, you made it. You're starting 30th in the 500. Thank you.
And now it's time for Lee Marshall's Dirt Track Racing Review. And hello again, everybody. Welcome to Yaha country. That's where we have grits and eggs and stock car racing and roundies. And our guest today, all the way from Elsie Craig, Ontario, Earl Ross. Earl, happy to have you with us today. And I want to just ask a question. What causes a man from the frozen north to ever get into this racing game?
Well, the warm weather down here helps.
Well, I suppose it does at that. You came down, you brought a couple of automobiles to Daytona Beach, this great Southland, the Sunshine State. Car number 52 is what we watched run first. Tell me, Earl, how long have you been racing?
For about 10 years.
About 10 years. And now as you look down the road, you've tried the super speedway, the tri-oval, and has to be considered the fastest track in the entire world, the Daytona International Speedway. What are your plans for going ahead with this?
Well, number one, I think you're right. It's got to be the fastest track in the world. It's pretty quick out there. My plans really are, it depends on Red Cap Company. They're the ones that sponsored me down here, and if they'll continue the sponsorship, I'll probably race more super speedways, but it really depends on them.
The Daytona 500 is next for you, and I know you'd like to have a finish just even better than what you had in the ARCA. But you run on asphalt or dirt in the north?
Asphalt.
You run on asphalt. Gee, we'd like to have you running dirt. Now, that's the way the good old boys run, is on dirt. You know, we have all the stories about rum running in the hills and everything, and that's the way racing started. It's going to be an exciting thing to see a Canadian down for the first time. Is it all right with you, Earl, if I call you the Mad Canadian?
No, that's fine.
I think you have to be mad to try racing in the first place. Well, as we always say around this beat, thanks for your time this time. And until next time, I'm Lee Marshall. And we're just going to say so long, everybody, and thanks, Earl.
Oh, rapid roar, that stock car boy, he too much to believe. You know he always got an extra pack of cigarettes rolled up in his t-shirt sleeve. He got a tattoo on his arm, I say, baby. He got another one that just say, hey. But every Sunday afternoon he is a dirt track demon in a 57 Chevrolet. Oh, rapid roar, that stock car boy, he's the best driver in the land. He say that he learned to race the stock car by running shine out of Alabama. Oh, the demolition derby and the figure eight, it's easy money in the bank compared to running from the man in Oklahoma City with a 500-gallon tank. Oh, rapid roar, that stock car boy, he too much to believe. You know he always got an extra pack of cigarettes rolled up in his t-shirt sleeve. He got a tattoo on his arm, I say, baby. He got another one that just say, hey. And Sunday afternoon he is a dirt track demon in a 57 Chevrolet.
Junior Johnson, one of the romantic stories about Grand National and NASCAR racing is dirt tracking and the whole thing, but it all goes back to that hill country in the Carolinas and running rum. Was there really as much of that done as we hear about?
Yeah, there was quite a bit back in the later years. It was sort of a thing of where you had to make a living, and it was a survival type thing, and in order to be able to survive, you had to be able to run good on the dirt tracks. Of course, the dirt roads, we didn't have any paved roads in our territory at that time, so we learned to drive dirt real good.
They felt like if a guy wasn't a good bootlegger, well, he wouldn't make a good race driver. They had to determine where you're going to be a driver from someplace. It felt like if you could stay away from the revenues, well, that would at least be a start. Nowadays, you can start in a sportsman or something like that and create a name for yourself in that respect. But back then, you had to dig them out of the woods and everywhere else,
Hi there, friends. Neighbor Joe Pally. I'm on this Come on down to watch track city. Goddamn, we got that bargains for you here today. Got a lollipop, some 3-point rides for the keys. Speaking of suckers, I got a sucker right here. It's a 52 Dodge pickup. It's got your radio, got your heater, got your overdrive, and it's got your easy riding rifle rack with not one but 3 of your beer rifles. So come on down to watch track city where bargains are your best friend. Now back to the Osmond Brother movie starring the Jackson 5. Cut!
We're driving now on the principal tourist strip of Daytona Beach. We're a city of about 45,000, but 100,000 in the total area. The largest racing facility is the Daytona International Speedway, but actually we have many small tracks here. We have midget competition, dirt track racing. One of the largest motorcycle racing events in the world is held here in the city of Daytona Beach during the month of March. We have a museum of speed. We have water sports is a great sport here in the city of Daytona Beach. We have the Montreal Expos and the Daytona Beach Dodgers playing baseball here. There are just a raft of facilities.
Disney World. We all went down there for a day while we were here at the races and all bought the hats and are enjoying ourselves.
It's a lot of clean entertainment there.
Because we depend heavily on tourists, we're pleased that people know about Daytona Beach and hear about it through racing and other means. On the other hand, with the great influx of people coming in at one given time, some local residents are inconvenienced. Many are somewhat unaware of the Speedway or perhaps just not concerned about racing, and they go about their business in the usual manner.
Well, I don't think Daytona Speed Week mean too much to the black. Not any at all.
We've been living down in Florida and hadn't ever come to the races before, and we thought we'd truck on down here and see what's happening. That traffic was pretty bad getting here around 8 o'clock last night. It was real heavy out on the roads. It took us close to 2 hours to get in here.
Because there are so many people here, you know, maybe even 250,000 people came to see if we couldn't reach a few of them for Christ. I'm working with a group called Teens for Christ here in New Smyrna. My brother told me there'd be quite a group up here, and every year this place gets so crowded with so many various kinds of people that it's just a real opportunity.
I met the Lord, and He put His arms around me and made me happy. Some of them look at you kind of squirrely, you know, and then some of them smile and say, well, that's wonderful. And to me, it's the most precious thing that the world has to offer. And the thing about it is it's free. It's free. I hunted peace and happiness for 25 years, tried to buy it and tried to find it, tried to chase it and everything else, and never could find happiness. And then I found out that I was trying to please the natural body, and you can't please the natural body. This is the most ornery, unruly thing in the world is the body.
Drivers, come up here, please.
At the Daytona International Speedway, 86 cars were here. 40 competitors are now ready to race. These are the qualified cars after two of the most enthusiastically applauded 125-milers in history. Incidentally, the throng today looks to be the largest in Speedway history, although it is a very rainy, cloudy day down here. They anticipated they might have been a little Gordon Johncock, the 36-year-old champion from Franklin, Indiana, who last raced here in 1968, is out of the event early, and we'll have a report from Joe Alloy shortly. Also, Earl Ross, the Ontario driver, making his first race here. His car has gone behind the wall, and he's out of competition. There's 3 cars out of the original 40 cars now out of the race with 105 miles complete, 42 laps down.
Was that the first time that you'd held up the signboard? Yeah.
You're the 3rd driver out of the race in the early stages with engine trouble. Why do you think we're having so much engine trouble in the early going here today?
Well, I've been having this problem right along, and I just haven't solved I don't know what the answer is to the problem yet. But I don't think it's anything to do with the conditions of the weather or anything like that.
You're down from Canada. We understand your sponsor gave you and your crew a $10,000 bonus just for qualifying. Is that right?
That's right.
Well, it's not so bad then, is it? It's a serious game they're playing for $250,000 out here this afternoon with some of the finest athletes the United States has ever produced. Trained, arms ready, coordination, fantastic coordination on these people, and the ability to think quick, because if you can't, this is no place for you. Baker walks to the garage. Richard Petty wins the Daytona 500, the first man to ever win it 4 times. Richard Petty's STP Dodge, before the largest crowd in southeastern history, the largest crowd to ever witness a stock car race, is now headed for Victory Lane. There's as big or bigger a throng than I've ever seen at Victory Lane.